Hello and welcome to my world of crochet. My name is Stine and this video is going to be the first video in my new series of where we follow projects from basically scratch to finish. This video is going to be about how I make the Big Brother basket to this basket that I made a few months ago. This basket I made in the Jumbo ribbon yarn from Hobby. And the fact is that this basket I actually made from just one skein. I had the lock, I had just so little left, but I succeeded, and how I made this and a small tutorial on how I made it can be found here in the description down below as a link. So basically I'm going to make a Big Brother because this basket is just big enough for, let's say, 2 to 3 persons, but when you have more persons on visit and you want to put in your morning breads there, it's just at the smaller size. So to ensure I have enough yarn, I bought 2 skeins of this ribbon yarn also a while back. I will link the yarn haul video for that also down below. And the idea is basically to make a copy of this, but when I do so, to ensure that the size is just big enough for this to be able to be placed inside of it, and the walls will probably be a bit taller to ensure I have what I want to have. I made this originally with a 6mm hook, which is actually the biggest hook I have at the moment. But it's supposed to be made, I guess, with a bit of a larger hook because, again, the yarn is a quite bulky yarn. So let's talk a little bit about the ribbon yarn before I actually start work with it here. Is that this ribbon yarn is, let's see if I can even find it here. It's a 250 grams, and for 250 grams you get 85 meters, which is about 93 yards. They recommend a crochet hook size of 8 to 9 millimeters, so you can hear when I said that I used a 6mm for this one, that was absolutely way too small. But actually I do like the denseness of this. As you can see, it's really dense, which means that you don't have any breadcrumbs laying around or easily falling through, which is also one of the purposes, of course, at least in my experience, and in my opinion, of a bread basket. So I'm not completely sure if I want to try a bigger hook, but of course I have obtained some since. But I have taken out 2 hooks from my Prim collection, and the one is my 6mm hook here, and the other one is my 7mm hook. I believe the 7mm hook could maybe make it a bit more airy. I'm not sure if that's what I want, so I'm probably gonna crochet up like a test swatch with just single crochets, because this is mainly made in single crochets, this piece. So I think that's probably what I'm gonna be doing, and then if I like it, I might make it all with a 7mm hook, and if I don't, I'll just keep to do it with a 6mm hook, which I made this bread basket in. It kind of depends on how dense it gets when it's crocheted up, so I will start with a swatch for that. And quickly, one thing I forgot about this ribbon yarn is the fact this is 100% cotton, so I like it's a natural fiber for this purpose, and it's a super bulky yarn classified as 6, and it can actually be washed at 40 degrees Celsius. So this means that if it gets dirty or whatsoever, I can just throw it into the washing machine and it will get clean again. And you can even choose to iron it, though I do not know I would want to iron a bread basket, but just to be sure, this would be the specs of this yarn. And this is a colorway of 8, which is a baby blue. And it appears to be matching my shirt pretty well today, which is a tiny detail. But yeah, so I'll get on going crocheting up a swatch with my 7mm hook, so I can make a decision on if I'm going to use the 7mm or the 6mm hook for this project. I worked up a small swatch, very small one, basically it's just 1 row, of single crochets with my 7mm hook, and I can see it's still very dense in its structure, and it's very, very close to the breadbasket that I'm gonna make a copy of in a bigger size. So I am going to use my Prim 7mm crochet hook for this project. I've now completed the first 4 rounds of the basket, and honestly, I think this turns out brilliantly with my 7mm hook. And I'm actually quite happy that I ended up increasing the hook size, because I do feel maybe it just works smoother, but it can also be how the Prim hook works in general compared to the hook I used to make the original basket with. And if we look now here at the comparison, you would say that they're pretty equal, except for maybe here the center ring is a little bit, the magic ring, sorry, is a little bit larger, but it's quite limited. And yeah, so basically I'm gonna chunk a few more rounds in. I do expect to need another 7 to 9 rounds, I guess, before I'm going to start build up the side walls on this. Yeah, I think that's approximately what I still need to go. Another at least 7 rounds. At least 7 rounds. I think we should maybe 7, maybe 8. I'll let you know when we get there to be able to start building up the side walls here. So yeah, I still have some crocheting to do. I've now worked for a bit on this bottom part of the Big Brother bread basket, and I have made an exact, actually I haven't counted the rounds, but I've compared to what's gonna be Little Brother, and the outer edges is about 1 or 2 rounds bigger. So what we should experience is that the edge, as you can see, is just enough to, when we start making it, that it should fit exactly and snug in. I don't have a ton of yarn left on my first skein, but I do have the next skein here ready to go. So I have enough yarns to make the walls of the basket. So to continue the bread basket, what I'm gonna do now is to begin basically on these walls, I will be, just a moment. I'm not sure what's going on here in my, something happened, so I'll have 2 loops, so it's like, oh, I see now, ow, the loop pulled itself out. Sorry, 1 moment, I'm just gonna save my work. All the fun things happen sometimes. So that was better. See, now we are back. I fixed the loop that had jumped out of itself. These stitch markers is also on the small side for this sort of material or yarn. So that's just how it is. And the other stitch marker here is just to mark where my rounds start and end. But what I wanted to say, I'm going to continue starting the beginning of the walls of this. And to do that, I will basically crochet into the back loop, 1 single crochet of the whole round around, and then I will continue to, after that 1 round of single crochets in the back loop only. I'll make single crochets and I'll keep making single crochets until I basically reach the height of the basket that I wanted to have. Sometime between now and then, I'm also going to have to chain yarn and of course weave in some of these ends. So yeah, I have my work cut out for me today. And if I reach to finish it today, I don't know. But I will most certainly, I believe, be finished with this basket by tomorrow. I'll admit I was a little bit optimistic yesterday about the amount of time I needed to finish the basket and how much time I actually had available to crochet. Also slightly, as I crochet a little bit differently, like the way I hold on it and how I move my body when I crochet with this bulky yarn. I could actually feel getting more tired in my shoulders and so on. So not just time-wise, it just takes a bit more time than, of course, that it took to make a small basket a few months ago. Also, partially due to the fact, of course, I have a few more, like it's larger, so a round has more stitches in it, and more stitches just takes more time to crochet. It's the fact we work with, so that's how it is. But what you can see is that I reached to finish up the same height as this baby brother, and I still need to weave in the ends, so I had to, around here, had to change yarn because the yarn was coming to an end. I do still have plenty of yarn left. So what I am debating is that I might want to add, I want to add at least one more row before I make the finish. I might add 2 rows before I make the last finishing round. And the last finishing round I'm going to make in slip stitches only, because then you get this quite nice bordering effect. At least that's my opinion for this type of baskets. And I'm going to show you that here on the small one which I made, is that you basically get this, normally you have these lovely stitches on top of your crochet stitches, which you then will get here at the edge of the basket as well. So it's kind of like, it seems a little bit thicker, and it's just like a really, really nice solid finish to the border, I think. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to first work around another full round of single crochets. Then I'm going to debate if I believe it needs the second round, and if I think so, I'll add the second full round. And then on top of that, I am going to do slip stitches all the way around, and then cut the yarn and weave in the ends, and then we should be pretty much complete. I have now finished the bread basket fully, and I ended up adding 2 rounds before I finished off with the border of slip stitches, and this is the final outcome. I am really pleased with how this has turned out, and it fits with exactly the original one in the middle. And the added extra row has actually now ensured that the height when they're stacked in one another is pretty equal, which makes, again, it nice for the stacking purpose. And easy storage, that you can keep things within one another to save some space. I'm really happy with the outcome, and yeah, it's going to be just perfect. The reason I ended up choosing also to add the 2 extra rounds is because I had the feeling it made the whole basket more in harmony, because the bottom is wider and bigger. So it's like it seemed more in harmony with an extra added row, that it actually had some decent wall to it. Also, what I experienced in the beginning when I was doing the bottom was that the bottom got really like wrinkly and would not lay flat. So it would be like more like curvy. And once I started adding walls to the basket, and as I had gotten 3 to 4 rounds, it started to really flatten out nicely, and follow the edges of the basket. So please keep your faith if you decide to make a basket like this, because once you start adding the walls, it gets some more stability to the bottom of it. So that's another great point. I'm also happy that I ended up choosing the 7mm crochet hook for this one, opposed to the 6mm, which I made the original basket from. Because in the end, when you work with a thicker yarn, it was somewhat easier to crochet with. I really like these prim hooks for a ribbon yarn. And if I compare the edges to these two, you barely see a difference. So this is made in 7mm and this in 6. This might seem a slight bit more airy, but it's so little you barely see the difference. And then honestly, for a little bit more smooth crocheting feeling, it's worth it, I think. It's most definitely worth it. So yeah, that's kind of much the end result of this. I hope that I've been able to either inspire you to make something similar, or that you just enjoyed watching my video. So I would like to thank you for your support, and feel free to come with any other sort of suggestions, or just your own comments if you've made baskets yourself. Let's share our experiences with one another to maybe even help other fellow crocheters here out in the YouTube world. And if you haven't yet, of course, please subscribe to my videos or to my channel so that you can keep seeing my videos, and hit the notification bell so that you will get notified whenever I post new videos, regardless of these being yarn talk videos, yarn hauls, tutorials, or even these, which is like the new from start to finish videos of various projects that I'm posting here on YouTube. I wish you all a great, pleasant and crafty day. Remember, you can do whatever you want. Stay strong, be happy, and I'll meet you again.